The housing crisis in the Adirondacks is driven by many factors, but two stand out. Second homeowners who will only spend some weeks or months in their Adirondack homes, and short-term rentals like Airbnb and Vrbo. Both of those groups have gobbled up so much available housing that there's not enough for people who live and work here year-round. One couple is rehabbing some homes specifically for them to rent to those year-rounder Adirondackers. That's today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Claxton Hepburn Medical Center, dedicated to providing patient care and regional services to the people of St. Lawrence County. claxtonhepburn.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Thursday, May 8th. First up, New York Republicans have big plans for 2026. They hope to defeat Governor Kathy Hochul and win more congressional seats while President Donald Trump is in office. Ed Cox chairs the state GOP. He told Jung-Yoon Han of the New York Public News Network about the Republican strategy.
How are you thinking as the party assembles a statewide ticket?
We need to have a very good, aggressive, exciting gubernatorial campaign like we had in 2022. Lee Zeldin, his campaign took off, and the result was that we won a record 11 congressional seats down ballot. And that made the majority in the House of Representatives in 2022. We need to have that same kind of gubernatorial campaign in order to pick up maybe 3 or 4 congressional seats here in New York and keep our majority in the House. Also, for the sake of New York, win the governorship this time.
What is the message that the Republican Party is taking leading into 2026 and leading into these contested congressional races and the gubernatorial race?
The message is, with respect to foreign affairs, it's going to be peace through strength, building up our military. With respect to the budget, it's going to be fiscal responsibility. And with respect to immigration, it's going to be we've closed the borders and deporting criminals who came across the border with everyone else and getting them out of the country. With respect to other issues, it is really the ending of the era of wokeness. For instance, the anti-Semitism on campuses, on Harvard's campus. Elise Stefanik did a great job with that. And she, with the full support of the president, she made it clear to the Harvard president that under no circumstances is anti-Semitism acceptable on the campuses. But the most important issue is going to be continuing the tax cuts and having an economy that's going to be growing. And by growing the economy, that is the best solution to the huge budget deficit that this country faces.
Anything else you want to add?
We need to have a true two-party system here in New York State, which we had for a century until the 2018 elections. We have to reestablish that, and 2026 is our time to do that with a really good gubernatorial race that is successful, that helps us down ballot to continue to break the supermajorities in the legislature that Democrats have, and to increase our representation in Congress so that we have a majority in the House of Representatives. And that's all hard in the context of midterm for a Republican president. But that is our job here in New York, and that's what we will all be working very hard to do.
That was Ed Cox, chair of the New York State Republican Party. He spoke with Jung-Yoon Han, a reporter in Albany for the New York Public News Network. The Adirondack Park Agency's top lawyer was removed from a Saranac Lake music venue after a physical altercation last week. Witnesses and complaints filed with the agency say Damian Stodola was involved in a fight with another person at the Waterhole on Main Street. The altercation took place after a staff social event at a local bowling alley. An APA staffer told the Adirondack Explorer the incident was an embarrassment for the agency. The incident comes as APA officials face accusations of fostering a toxic workplace. The agency has said it has zero tolerance for bullying. Additionally, APA's legal department has recently been marked by staff turnover. Stadola and an APA spokesperson declined to comment on the altercation. The housing market in the Adirondacks has reached a crisis point, especially for renters. A housing shortage and the growth of short-term rentals have pushed up the price of rent. It puts a strain on local workforces and local families. In today's North Country at Work story, we talk with a couple who are trying to make a difference by investing in long-term rentals. Anna Williams-Bergen has our story.
Growing up in Saranac Lake, Steve McNerlin's mom was in real estate.
You know, that was something that she did on the side, was buy apartment buildings, and I swore to myself I'd never get involved in that business.
But that all changed pretty quickly.
When I got out of college, I kind of experienced the same issue that everybody's experiencing right now. I wasn't able to even find an apartment.
McNerlin saved up and put a small down payment on his first mortgage. He bought a 4-unit building, lived in one, rented the rest out, and then he moved on with his life and his career, just managing what he owned. Then he got together with his wife, Deirdre McNerland.
We're looking at building our own house, and we were on like a 5-year plan with that, and we had some money saved up, and we're like, let's do a flip. We thought we were going to do a flip. We ended up doing a long-term rental. So we bought a foreclosure. We did it together, and then kind of got hooked back into it as a couple.
The couple started a real estate business, the Dackdoor Group. They bought old, run-down buildings, pulled out the guts, made things nice again. Some of them were in really bad shape.
This house, it was bank repossessed, and I think the bank told us they spent about $20,000 in garbage removal prior to us purchasing it. And then once we purchased it, we went through about 13 30-yard dumpsters. These are the biggest dumpsters that you can get.
It was hard, dirty work. Deirdre McNerlin recalled being pregnant, knee-deep in cellulose insulation as she tossed things out a second-floor window. They resold a few of their renovations, but mostly they've turned them into long-term rentals. They've got buildings in Westport and Saranac Lake, 1-bedrooms for under $1,000 a month, 2 bedrooms around $1,300. When they've got apartments available, they fly off the shelves. McNerlin says applications start coming in within 15 minutes, and they don't stop.
It's actually it brings us a lot of anxiety every time we have a new apartment that's ready to get rent. It should be a time that we're happy, but we know that we're going to post something and we're going to get so many people's hopes up.
McNerlin says that in the Adirondacks, the math on long-term rentals as an investment isn't great. That's a big part of why so many landlords choose short-term rentals. It's easier to actually make a profit, and fast. But the McNerlins don't. They're in it for the long run.
We're looking at it as like an investment in our community and an investment for ourselves. The original purpose of it was to help solve a problem in the community and be successful, help set ourselves up for success in the future.
They try to keep the books balanced, saving up front by buying fixer-uppers. But Deirdre McNerlin says it's still a lot of financial risk.
This is a lot of money to put back in these buildings. And Steve kept saying to me, it's the long run, it's the long run, it's the long game. And I kept saying, okay, but how are we going to make this next payment or this or that? And it just somehow works out, just figures itself out.
Things have settled down now. They've stabilized most of their properties, and they both have day jobs in telecommunications. Like many people in the North Country, the McNerlins say it takes a few jobs to live the life they want. Deirdre calls it the Adirondack hustle. You can't just get into real estate on a whim, she says. But if you study up, it's possible.
It's great to just come talk to us, talk to us or find your own community and listen to podcasts and educate yourself. But it's doable. Like, you just have to have the right community and people to talk to about it.
The McNerlins want more people to do what they're doing, and they're happy to teach them to do it. They don't fear competition. In the long run, they say, it will only benefit their community. For North Country Public Radio's North Country at Work project, I'm Anna Williams-Bergen in Westport.
The story is part of North Country at Work's Next Generation project, which highlights stories from the region's young workers. If you have a story in mind, we want to hear it. Text the word NEXT to 315-978-6277. You can also email us at work@ncpr.org. Music today by Christopher Watts of Canton and Gretchen Kohler and Daniel Kelly of Potsdam. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.